Okay, I will start the screen. Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 6 and there are Fizariah Sukma and then Fitria and then me, Fitrin. Here we will talk about that or mortality related to on the birthmark story. Okay, first, there is definition of that. So that is a universal and inescapable phenomenon that cannot be avoided nor delayed in the human experience. However, according to Jeff Mason, 2015, he argues that there is no one who experts on that, for there is nothing to know about it. Then, in this concept of death, some people thought that death is real, and the others thought that death is not real. If it is real, then the end of one's life is a simple termination. If it is not real, then the end of one's embodied life is not true death, but a portal to another life. In defining that, there are some definitions for theoretical, and some theories focus on the physiological system and claim that an organism lives and when the organism's psychological system can no longer function as an integrated whole or when this loss becomes irreversible. And this is from Christopher Belso and then David de Grazia. And bits of Latin, the definition bits of Latin, that means the end of life, the cycle cessation of life. If this definition is known to us all, it can be enlarged. Indeed, in its medical sense, it is the end of brain function defined by a flat electroencephalogram. In its philosophical sense, it was considered successively by a number of authors like Plato. From Plato have defined that has the end of a terrestrial life and access to an ideal world. And for Epicurus or Lucretius have defined that as the dissolution of soul and body. And Heidegger sees that death as the very form of human life considered in its finitude. This form before and assume allow access to its authenticity. Finally, Sartre saw that as a fact without any ontological question. And then for the last, there is in psychology, it does not study the actual occurrence of death, but rather the human reaction to death. The realization that there is certain has the potential to cause great anxiety in humans because of their focus on self-preservation. Now, this is from Baker, 1973. Then, in current psychology studies regarding thought about death, psychologists investigate the fear and anxiety of death related to gender, age, ethnicity, and culture, personality, characteristic, and religious affiliation. And then for the next theory will be delivered by Fitria.
Alright, so for the next, there's a theory about mortality, and it is called Cobbler-Ross theory. So Cobbler-Ross theory, this is the steps of approaching death, and there are some steps. The first we call as denial, and then anger, regaining, depression, and then acceptance. Number one, the step is denial. So in denial stage, individuals or people believe the diagnosis is somehow mistaken or false and cling to a false, preferable reality. And this denial often occurs because people are shocked to discover that their time is becoming limited. So it means that the individuals or the people try to deny their sickness, their dying, because they are shocked to know that their time is going to be limited. And then number two, the stage is anger. When the individual recognizes that Daniel cannot continue, they become frustrated, especially approximate individuals. So this anger stage can occur due to feelings of loneliness, guilt, and meaninglessness. And the third step is called Progaining. So after past the denial and the anger stage, the people try to Progain. So this stage involves the hope that the individual can avoid a cause of grief, can avoid a cause of sadness, and usually the negotiation for an extended life is made in exchange for a reformed lifestyle. In this stage, people often have private moments with God. So it means that the individuals who who seeks, they try to bargain. They try to ask more happiness, more life, more healthy to God. And the next steps, there's depression. And in this stage, the individual despairs at the recognition of their mortality. And in this stage, the individual may become silent, refuse visitors, and spend much of the time mournful and silent. So, in this depression stage, it is based on the realization that soon they will no longer be living and the world will continue on without them. So, after past all of those stages, they try to uh, give up. They give up because there's no way to get more life, to get more healthy. So they get depression. And then the last stage, it is called acceptance. So according to Cobbler-Ross, passion or people who reach the stage of acceptance have neither positive nor negative feelings about the present or future. So they try to realize that they have no longer life. So they become unemotional as they are fully aware and accepting that that will happen to them in time. All right, the next.
Okay, thank you. Actually, in here, we will talk about the death or mortality on the birthmark story. If we see from the first theory that Fitria said before, so actually we can say that um, the Elmer's wife or Georgiana, firstly she doesn't want to die, but after that she was denial to herself, and then she was depressed, and after that she accept that she can die, and so on. In here we can link to another theory of mortality. In Elmer's view, he sees the birthmark as a mark of mortality itself, and he wants to remove it, which would logically result in immortality. These achievements would put him at the pinnacle of science and on a level with God, a position which he does pursue even in his less ambitious attempts at changing nature. The immortality is reached by depressions here by of Elmer's and acceptance by Georgiana. So Elmer's is depressed by his own feelings because the birthmark, and Georgiana surrenders, and she doesn't have a worry as long as she can give what her husband wants. That's why the mortality happens after that. Next. In here, another theory about mortality is mortality can be seen as a reincarnation. In some religion, mortality is believed as the life cycle of a person. In birthmark itself, Georgiana is issued that in her past life, she is a person with burnt, shot, or speared, and it becomes the birthmark at the next life cycle. Another theory is Elmer thinks that he makes the Georgiana come to heaven because already removed the birthmark. In this sense, perhaps Elmer does achieve his goal. On a basic level, he succeeds in removing the birthmark. On a more complicated level, he does render Georgiana immortal since he removes the only thing that makes her mortal and her soul ascends to heaven, where it will live on through eternity. Ironically, he removes the fallout of that, but the results, Georgiana's deaths, are essentially the same as he had them. Next. Mortality is also believed as eternal life. One exchange between Georgiana and Elmer suggests that a poison is in fact an elixir of life, or as Elmer says, an elixir of immortality. He seems to imply that death brings about some sort of immortality in itself, which corresponds to the Christian view of heaven as a place where the souls will forever reside, or like in Islam also. So if a person already died, then they will live as forever life after that. There is like neraka. Yeah, there is neraka and also heaven in Islam. So it is the same as eternal life. So next. Okay, guys, we think that that's all our presentation. Thank you for your attention. We are from Group 6.